January 5th, 2012. Saw a flock of black-billed magpies, 6 or 7 adults in the trees by the lake today. Very strange. See them this far west. January 12th, 2012. For the record, my name is Dr. Robert Twombly, age 32, specialist in hematology-oncology at the Northwest Blood Treatment Center, Seattle. The NBTC lab occupies the top floor of a 7-story building adjacent to Lake Union. These are facts, and I record them because everything else right now is impossible to believe. And we need to start with the facts. I have my birding journal here. Here is I've barricaded myself in one of the lab rooms. Outside there's some sort of infection. It happened fast. I'm hoping that if I record as much as I can, and others are doing the same, we can, cure it? I don't know what it is. No one seems to know what's happening. Feels like the end of the world. On January 7th, the first signs were the breaking news reports. People all over the world were getting sick. According to news reports, major cities have been hit hardest. Military units were mobilized to help, but of course there's no reason why soldiers would be any more immune to illness than civilians. Breathing filtration systems have not been helping. There is no help. When casualties vastly outweigh medical personnel, when treatments are so far ineffective, fear spreads even faster than disease. At first, the reports of attacks weren't... Well, it wasn't clear that people weren't just killing each other in a panic of some sort, and... they had to censor, restrict the details, at least at first, when that was still possible. Estimates of the infection rate kept going higher before the news shut down, and it's difficult to figure out by our remaining staff, though here, where we might be able to help more than anywhere else, people kept coming in rather than bunkering down at home. But looks like downtown Seattle has a 90% infection rate. If the rest of the world is affected at anywhere near that, I don't know that a 90% infection rate is survivable in terms of overall population. For the other 10%, it's just a matter of time before symptoms manifest. I have no idea why I've been one of the fortunate ones, or if I'll remain this way. Hospitals have been at maximum capacity since day one, with patients spilling out into the streets. Same here in Seattle. What caused this? Doctors like myself have been working round the clock to find out. Blood samples from infected patients from Harborview were rushed over here, and we've been running all known tests, but the results are coming back negative for everything. No identifiable bacteria, virus, or parasite. Yet people are stricken with severe aches and pains all over the bodies, like knives sticking into every muscle. And then things get worse. My lab is down to a skeleton crew, as many of my team have been hospitalized or are in line waiting to be. I feel helpless at this point. We're doing such research as we can, but I've also just been making up tests out of thin air, figuring if I get a result, I'll backtrack scientific method later. Like stick an electric wire in a blood culture. Anything? Nothing. Power's out now. Backup generator too. I ran a paperclip from a 9-bolt battery. What does that prove? Nothing. In the first few days of outbreak, horrific instances of suffering were broadcast on television and the internet. Mostly just short, the last stage of infection. Illness was only the beginning. People succumbed and died. But within moments of death, really just shortly after death was noted, the bodies snapped back into life. They didn't even get to the morgue. Patients went from flatline to animation, completely deranged. There is no scientific explanation. There may be a religious one, but if we're going to figure this out, I think we should stick to the science. Once there is brain death, a person is, or should be, dead. Yet function, I suppose that's what it is reported to return among the risen. Corpses become animated. Once reanimated, the infected patient shows single-mindedness? We don't really know what, if any, brain activity is happening in their minds, and no one can get close enough to one of the dead to really understand much, because they seem angry, violent. It was hard to accept this from the last broadcast before the blackout. The reports that the dead weren't just attacking, but actually trying to eat the living. And then I witnessed it for myself. And I can't deny what I've seen, even though it's almost too awful to believe. Our power's out, and judging by how dark the city is, it seems like the power is out on every grid. Internet access has been down for 2 days, along with cell phone reception. Can only guess that the same thing is occurring worldwide. We take for granted now how much we rely on technology for information. I suddenly feel blind. Only 3 of us remain in the office, and for all I know, the entire building. Head of our lab, Dr. Carla Wilkins, my assistant, Paul Jenkins, and me.